Today, I am making a move, or I'm contemplating making a somewhat bigger move into a cryptocurrency that has been up quite a bit over the past week or so since its ICO. But I think it still has a lot of room to go, and that is ChainLink, and it's something that I want to talk about today. Whether or not it's really poised for a big move forward, personally, I think it might be. I really like the project itself, so I want to talk a little bit about that, and then overall the rest of the market movements, kind of what is going on today and how you can understand or really learn from the things that are happening every day, because that's kind of my thought process. And what I try to do on a consistent basis is every single day take a look at the market. What can I learn from it? How can I get better and understand what is happening in the world of cryptocurrency to make better decisions tomorrow? Now, my name is Rob from Crypto Bobby. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. I do daily recorded videos on the subject of cryptocurrencies, as well as live YouTube crypto happy hours where I sit back, have a drink, talk to you guys about what is happening in the world of cryptocurrency, and answer as many questions as I humanly possibly can. So let's hop into it. As of today, right now within the markets, pretty similar to to yesterday in a lot of respects, with some of the big cryptos down a few percentage points. Bitcoin still down a little bit, less than 2%. Ethereum down less than 1%. Ripple up somewhat nicely, making a pretty decent move, up 5%. And either your best friend or your least favorite person in the world, Bitcoin Cash, Bcash, whatever you want to call it, however you want to disparage it or laud it, Bitcoin Cash is having a rough go of it, down about 9%. And if you could see over the past 7 days or so, down, basically just continuing a pretty strong down movement. So Bitcoin Cash having some trouble in the markets right now. Still a $6 billion market cap, but well below Ripple now, where at one point Bitcoin Cash was in that in that number 3 spot. But outside of that, pretty interesting day in terms of just some overall, I mean, for the most part, pretty steady in the land of crypto. When you're looking at not that many cryptos in the top 20 with double-digit movements, if at all. I don't think any double-digit movements in the top 20. The closest is Bitcoin Cash, down quite a bit. And you have to scroll down pretty far to even see any type of double-digit movements, and that's going to be with Salt at 30th place. One of, I believe, Eric Voorhees' companies, a lending platform, and that is down about 15%. But going even further, and then you have Walton, having somewhat of a correction, still up significantly from the Walton chain. Walton here up significantly from its like $1-2 days of literally only a few weeks ago. You can take a look back at that, but Walton is pulling back a little bit. I'm not sure if that is the start of a just continued downtrend, if Walton was just a kind of coordinated pump and dump type scenario, or however it might be. I'm going to take a look at it and see if this might be a decent entry point personally, or if it's just time to say, the run has been had, it's over, let's get out. But as I go down a little bit further too, another one from yesterday's video, BitShares down in the double digits, down 14% after it was delisted from Bittrex. And one quick comment on BitShares. So, not to disparage BitShares in any stretch. I'm not a massive fan of the project personally. But one thing I would say is, it's kind of funny when you put out a video and you talk about something where, Bittrex delist BitShares. And I think, like I said, a lot of it has to do with potential regulations from the SEC. And some people were literally just saying, no, that's absolutely not the case. This has nothing to do with SEC regulations, and it's simply because Bittrex is scared of BitShares. BitShares is making Bittrex money if it has $7 million or whatever it was of volume a day, a couple $1 million of volume a day on Bittrex. That's literally making Bittrex money. You really think that Bittrex is so scared of, if there's multiple decentralized exchanges, like why are other decentralized exchanges trading on Bittrex as well? Are they going to just delist every decentralized exchange and nothing else? It doesn't make any sense. If you hold cryptocurrency and it's going down, if negative news comes out about it, take the Johnny Bagholder glasses off for a second and think about it. Just think about it going forward. And this is in regards to anything. I have OMG. If OMG goes down because some negative news comes out, take the bag holder glasses off. Why is it going down? Should I dump it? Should I hold on to it? Is now a good time to buy more? Just don't always go in with this like blind faith about everybody's out to get the one cryptocurrency I have. Everybody's out to get it. Like, they're not out to get it. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But in this case, I don't think Bittrex is shaking in their space boots about BitShares. I think literally they're shaking in their space boots about the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, who is quite frankly a lot more powerful and a lot more of a threat to them than BitShares is. So that's just my thought process there. Just take that in it's not just BitShares. Any other thing in the planet, if negative news comes out about it, just because you hold it, don't like disparage that negative news. Think about it and see if that negative news is actually legit. If it is, then make some moves off of it. If the negative news is BS, then push it off. But just because it's negative news doesn't mean it's wrong news if you hold that cryptocurrency. So a little bit of an aside there, but something that I wanted to talk about because a couple different people were trashing it and trashing Bittrex and saying they were scared. I don't think Bittrex is scared of BitShares. I think Bittrex is scared of the SEC. That's me personally, but I guess we'll have to see how that plays out. So one of the other cryptocurrencies today that I wanted to talk about, and this is ChainLink. Now, I'll pull it up here, but ChainLink had a recent ICO and has pretty much crushed it since the ICO. So ChainLink has done really well since the ICO, had about a $30 million ICO and immediately was trading above $50, $60 million and has since moved from $60 million in market cap to over 100 to around 100, $25, $135 million right now. So it's had a little bit of a pullback and is now back on the upward move. It's up over 11% on the day US dollar wise, and it's up over 13% if you're comparing it to both Bitcoin and Ethereum because both of them are down on the day. When I'm looking at ChainLink right now, I actually got into ChainLink a little bit down here and then made a quick trade going up and made a little bit of money, nothing substantial, nothing crazy, but I made the trade around here when I had this little bit of a pullback, and then it continued to go up, and I lost out on some of that, some of that profit, but I still made profit. And as I made that profit, I've continued to evaluate ChainLink, and I've continued to evaluate it. And previously, it was a short-term trade, and I'm looking at this now as a potential long-term hold and really solid long-term opportunity. And there's a couple reasons why. I think that not necessarily that ChainLink is absolutely going to be a top 20 coin, because who the hell knows if it is, if it isn't, whatever. But I think that there is, quite frankly, a lot of room for ChainLink to move. You're looking at right now $136 million market cap. It's really not unheard of for a lot of these, in my opinion, a lot of these cryptos to go from $100 million to $500 million in market cap, and then a lot of times they'll come back down to $300, $200 million. But I really think that ChainLink could have some, granted, if you got in at the ICO, you're swimming in profit right now, which is fantastic. I didn't get in on the ICO because I forgot the ICO was happening that day, but I still think that there is a lot of room to move. If this goes up to a $500 million market cap coin, you're looking still at over 300% ROI, or really a 3x return on your investment there, which would be a pretty nice movement for me personally. So you're probably wondering, why do I think that ChainLink is an interesting cryptocurrency? Why do I think it's even worth considering, especially if it's up quite a bit from from its ICO? So number one, I'll say this. Obviously, you don't necessarily always want to buy in the all-time highs. This is a little bit of a pullback from the all-time high, but still not, it's not that far off the all-time highs right now. But, and obviously you would have liked to have buyback in here, but not everything happens like that. So it is what it is. But so what is ChainLink? So ChainLink is from smart contract. You go to smartcontract.com. That's ChainLink. And really what ChainLink is trying to do is trying to be the middleware for smart contracts. And I think this is a really, really solid and interesting application for smart contracts, because This is going to be a huge value proposition, in my opinion, to something like Ethereum. It's going to be a huge value proposition to a lot of companies that are trying to look at the blockchain and at blockchain technologies as something to really improve the efficiencies around their business. So when I'm looking at this, smart ChainLink and smart contract, it's basically this Oracle system where the system of oracles where they are allowing you to connect external data to the blockchain through really APIs. So like, let's just say, for example, right now, for the most part, if you have, if you run a smart contract right now, I've used a couple smart contracts, and basically, those smart contracts are pretty much all function on the blockchain, where say for some of these ICOs, I've gotten in on a couple smart contracts where somebody programs a smart contract, and what they do is you send them Ethereum, and then they have it within the smart contract to participate in somebody else's ICO. You send them Ethereum. After they receive the tokens from the ICO, then you get the tokens back after you've paid them in Ethereum. That is like the utilization of a smart contract. But that's all data that is specifically based on the blockchain right now. On the other side of the house, people are looking at smart contracts for different things like financial transactions, legal, insurance. And so one of the interesting examples, that I've seen or something like that is that somebody was talking about like business insurance. Some of the floods that have happened in the U.S., some of the hurricanes and things like that. If you have business insurance, you can have something like ChainLink. You can have their data synced to your accounting books. And if you have an insurance policy that says, if my revenue dips by 50% due to a hurricane, then my insurance kicks in. And your accounting books would have an API that would deliver that to the Oracle smart contract ChainLink network there, and that would connect to your smart contract for your insurance company, and that would pay out based upon the information that's coming from your external source. So really interesting applications here that is going to potentially allow companies and enterprises and organizations to take information from existing systems, and you could think in such a multitude of matters. Basically anything that has data, you can leverage that data into a into an Ethereum smart contract or into a smart contract. I believe they have Bitcoin as well, but just a multitude of data, whether it's stock information from Bloomberg, from the New York Stock Exchange, if it's, it could just be such a variety of things. And they have a really good number. I mean, they have some pretty interesting partnerships right now. They're working with Swift, which is a really big partnership, in my opinion. And they also were named by Gartner, I work in enterprise software. They were named by Gartner as a cool vendor. My company that I work for, just in my day job, is heavily recognized by Gartner, and that is a massive selling point for us. So I think, Gartner does a lot of research on this, and the fact that they were named to Gartner is a pretty big deal to me. And I think something that is really interesting to see. So, you can kind of see the demonstration here of the Ethereum ChainLink, and how this works is, you could take data from the New York Stock Exchange, basically through an API, pipe that into ChainLink, and then ChainLink will kind of digest that data for Ethereum, and then the actual smart contract will take place on the Ethereum blockchain. So it's an on-blockchain smart contract, but you're taking data from off the blockchain and transferring that in and making that basically digestible by Ethereum, which is such, I think, a really interesting and probably one of the most incredible use cases and interesting use cases from the perspective of blockchain technology and Ethereum. So I think, there's obviously a lot that needs to happen. There's a lot of different things, but if I'm looking at a moonshot bet right now in crypto, I think ChainLink could potentially be one of those moonshot bets for me. So I'm looking at entry points right now. I dipped my toes in a tiny bit earlier on EtherDelta, but right now it's just traded on EtherDelta and Binance and Mercatox. I'm honestly not familiar with Mercatox at all. And EtherDelta is about the biggest pain in the butt on the planet, but it's trading on Binance. So I'm looking at ChainLink right now, trying to increase a pretty substantial position and move some crypto around So to give you guys kind of some of my thought process there too, so we can head over to just my website, kind of show you my portfolio. It hasn't been updated in a little bit of time. But so right now, I mean, for the most part, my portfolio is consisted of right now pretty heavy dose of Ethereum and Bitcoin. The Bitcoin, this needs to be updated. It might be updated by the time you watch this video, but Ethereum and Bitcoin. And then I have a decent amount of Civic and OMG. And then this Manetha is down quite a bit since that ICO, or it's about the level of it was where the ICO is happening. Still bag holding that until it hits an exchange like Binance, hopefully, or Bittrex, or whatever it might be. But this is down a little bit. So what am I doing as far as kind of potentially positioning ChainLink into my portfolio? I think I might be looking at taking a little bit off the table in Civic, taking a little bit off the table in OMG, and taking a little bit off the table in Manetha, leaving my Ethereum and Bitcoin investments staying, and then taking 5% from maybe taking 5 or 10% from Manetha and a few points off of OMG, a few points off of Civic, and throwing that into ChainLink and watching that go. So that's kind of my investment strategy thesis right now as far as how I'm looking to handle some of these things. And again, too, I mean, I have no price predictions on this. I mean, anybody who gives you a price prediction is in my opinion fairly silly, because nobody has any idea where it's going up, one way up or down. But for me, ChainLink is a really interesting crypto that I think has a lot of long-term potential and long-term use case in the space if they can actually execute on that vision. So I'm going to make I'm looking to make a bet on that. So we'll see. If you have opinions on ChainLink, I'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear what you have to say as far as if it's a good cryptocurrency, if this is something I should dive into, if this is something I shouldn't dive into, if you're looking to to make a move into it, if you participated in the ICO, I'd overall like to hear your opinions on ChainLink, to hear what you're thinking about, kind of get some community perspective there. And as always, too, this is everything I'm saying right now and everything within the channel. It's none of this is specific financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Speak to a registered financial professional, because your boy Robbie definitely ain't it. But sometimes you get those feelings where you feel like something it has a lot of potential and has a lot of potential to do well and be really strong. That was why I went into Omise Go, OMG, when it was under $2. That's why I went into Civic pretty hard in the ICO. That's why I've gone into a couple of these different cryptocurrencies. So I'm getting that, you just get that gut feeling, and I'm just going to follow it and see what happens. But I definitely want to hear from you guys as far as if ChainLink is worth its weight in Ethereum, or if it's not, and if just what your overall thoughts are there. So outside of that, guys, hope you found this video helpful in terms of just my thought process and what I'm looking at when it comes to a potential crypto investment and readjusting my portfolio a little bit. My name is Rob from Crypto Bobby. As I said before, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. That helps me to grow the channel as much as possible. And if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, because that will help me to expand the horizons and get this to a lot of the non-subscribers out there in the crypto world, which I really love to talk to as many people as possible as well. So thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. My name is Rob from Crypto Bobby, signing out.